Welcome to Spokane Talks, where you'll find the latest in community news, views, and conversation. Spokane Talks is brought to you by Rada Paint and River Ridge Hardware. Now, join your host to hear what Spokane's talking about.
Hey everyone, and welcome to Spokane Talks. I'm Colin Pittman. Well, on this episode, we learn about youth in our community, beginning with a very special youth organization here in Spokane, the Hutton Settlement, that's lasted over 100 years. Stay with us as we tour their beautiful campus and learn more about their history. And then we take a look at this month's Youth Spotlight nominee, Eric Mathieson from Central Valley High School. Stay with us to see his amazing accomplishments. We'll be right back with the Hutton Settlement.
Here at River Ridge Hardware, we want to help you help your fathers and grandfathers. How many times have you seen them get a bigger workout just trying to get the equipment started? They crank, and never get started. We have a battery operated. You just throw that battery in, run it, pull the trigger, you're ready to roll. No workout, all fun, getting the garden done. Here at River Ridge Hardware, we want to help you make your dad's day and your grandfather's day. Neighbors helping neighbors at River Ridge Hardware.
See you tomorrow night, and thanks again for taking care of the painting.
I got this.
Bye.
Weekends are made for painting. Let the experts at Rada Paint take care of you.
Hi. This looks amazing.
Rada Paint, over 80 years of quality, tradition, and trust. Find it in every can.
Well, it takes a special organization to last over a century. We're celebrating 100 years of history here at the Hutton Settlement. This is the Hutton Heart. This is the Hutton Settlement's 100th year, and it began with one man's vision. Levi Hutton was an orphan from a very young age, and always told himself that if he had the opportunity to build a home for similarly disadvantaged kids someday, he would. And that is exactly what he did. With a hard work ethic, Levi landed a job as an engineer for the Northern Pacific Railroad, which took him to Wallace, Idaho, where he met his wife. And it wasn't long before Levi and his wife took all of their savings and invested it into the Hercules mine, where they ended up striking it rich. With this money, Levi told himself he wanted to fulfill his dream of building a home for kids of similar backgrounds to his own. Levi wanted a place out of the city, a place where kids could be kids. He stood on the hill at Arborcrest in Spokane Valley, looked down and said, "That's it. That's where I want to build a home." Today, the Hutton Settlement spans 320 acres, has 32 residents in its care, and has served as a family to hundreds of kids who have come through its doors. However, some changes have occurred in the 100 years of Hutton. True orphans aren't as common anymore, and many of the kids at Hutton today come from unstable families of addiction, mental health issues, and/or homelessness. Many of these kids arrive with severe trauma, but there is one special sauce at Hutton: the house parent couples that care for the kids as their own and give them the love and support they need to live healthy lives. The kids at Hutton attend the West Valley School District, and one of this year's seniors at Hutton is even one of the valedictorian of West Valley's class of 2019. We had the opportunity to tour Hutton's stunning campus with Executive Director Chud Wendell. Take a look.
So this is the auditorium. 1919, obviously, is when it built, 100 years. This has served multi-purposes throughout the 100 years. So on Friday nights, I heard that Millwood would do a community movie.
Okay.
And so we have a little movie room up there on the screen. Every December, we'll have our big Hutton Christmas party, and it's a great time to celebrate. The kids love it. Santa will show up. But what's beautiful about it is nowadays the families of the kids will come, so their bio families will be here. So it's a big, true celebration.
And the stained glass windows are incredible all throughout this room.
And I'm told that it's original, but I don't know how, because I know they've done a little kickball, dodgeball, and I don't know how none of the stained glass has not been broken, but it's absolutely gorgeous.
It is.
Got a little Hoosiers feel to it.
I love it.
So this is the hallway of the administration building. And what you'll see here, and I don't know if you can pick up on it, but things that are pretty unique and special. Babe Ruth, who was an orphan, came and visited the boys back in the 20s.
Oh, wow.
And what's fun about this is that he's got one living descendant. It's his granddaughter, and her name's Linda Pissetti. And she learned about this picture this year, and so she's decided to come out. And we're going to have one of the things we'll do with our alumni is we're going to have a generational alumni baseball game, and his granddaughter is going to throw out the first pitch.
That's incredible.
Here at River Ridge Hardware, we want to help you help your fathers and grandfathers. How many times have you seen them get a bigger workout just trying to get the equipment started? They crank, and never get started. We have a battery operated. You just throw that battery in, run it, pull the trigger, you're ready to roll. No workout, all fun, getting the garden done. Here at River Ridge Hardware, we want to help you make your dad's day and your grandfather's day. Neighbors helping neighbors at River Ridge Hardware.
See you tomorrow night, and thanks again for taking care of the painting.
I got this.
Bye.
Weekends are made for painting. Let the experts at Rada Paint take care of you.
Hi. This looks amazing.
Rada Paint, over 80 years of quality, tradition, and trust. Find it in every can.
So what year did things kind of really kick off here at Hutton? What was the first year that the buildings were?
Well, they laid the cornerstone in 1918. So
Okay.
June of 1918 was when the cornerstone was laid. So that's when the construction team went to town, and they opened the doors in November of 1919.
Wow.
And when they say they opened the doors, they opened all 5 buildings at once. So if you think about that kind of construction back then, he put together one of the stronger teams, and he had an architect too. That the architect Harold Whitehouse, who did the work on St. John's Cathedral,
Okay.
was his architect. He gave him carte blanche, said, "I want the best buildings you can build for homes for the kids."
That's great.
So 1919 is when the doors opened.
So things came together pretty quickly.
They
then.
came together. Yeah. And part of the team too that's unique with us is that we just don't stop here. I mean, the children still have parents,
Sure.
and to be able to include them to the level we can is so important, because they're always going to be a mom or they're always going to be a dad,
Right.
and to be able to have that relationship and not just sort of write it off, but to bring it back, and in some cases maybe even a reunification happens, is pretty special.
Yeah. How often does that happen? Have you had several of those?
They do happen, and the shortest a placement will be with us is 9 months, basically an academic
Sure.
school year. They're not common, unfortunately. I mean, they're not
Sure.
something that are happening every year.
Right.
But there's stories where they have, and the parents have been able to get stability, employment, and put themselves in a position to where they've gotten some education. We do provide family education, and they're in a position where they're much better off to be able to care for them.
Sure.
You know what that means.
All right. When Levi built Hutton, he really wanted to get rid of the institutional feel. Therefore, each of the 4 cottages that the kids live in have their own look and charm. On the outside, they all appear to have gorgeous brick and look very similar. But on the inside, each has their own kitchen, colors, and furniture. Hutton offers many activities and programs for the kids, including a self-run garden, chickens, pool, a Christmas tree farm, a tennis court, sand volleyball, and more. Just as Levi wanted, a place where kids can be kids.
See See you tomorrow night, and thanks again for taking care of the painting.
I got this.
Bye.
Weekends are made for painting. Let the experts at Rada Paint take care of you.
Hi. This looks amazing.
Rada Paint, over 80 years of quality, tradition, and trust. Find it in every can.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Spokane Talks. This is Youth Spotlight, and I am your host, Brady Magruder, and I'm here with a very special guest from CV High School, Eric Mathieson. How you doing?
Pretty good.
Great. Well, thank you for coming on the show. It's really, really great to have you.
Thanks for having me. Yeah.
Of course. So, you're from CV. You're a senior, just like me, and you have been awarded the $4,000 scholarship from the Spokane Scholars Foundation, which is a really, really fantastic foundation that awards seniors with strong academic merit and with a really, really great record. And all of those people who are up there on the board and who are nominated are kind of like crazy people. Like they are insane in the best ways possible because of the accomplishments that they've gotten. And so you were nominated for math and won the $4,000 scholarship. So congratulations.
Thank you.
That's pretty awesome. So why don't you talk a little bit more about that?
So I've always been interested in math. It's been kind of one of my stronger subjects. And I think something they also mentioned, and I mentioned in the application for, I guess, the whole thing, was my interest in computer science as well. So I've done a lot of math and a lot of computer science, so that kind of just came through, and I think that's how
it was able to really feed in there. And so being an AP scholar with distinction and having all of that work, it takes a lot to be able to get to that point, to hold a 4.0 GPA and to gain those accomplishments. And so I'm sure you know what that's like.
Yes. I've had tremendous support from family, friends, teachers, classmates, just all around the board. But it has also been just a lot of work, a lot of time management, commitment to school and other things as well.
Right, of course. And commitment to other things is a really great point, because having to manage all of the schoolwork that you do, you also have to participate in band as well, because you're in band at CV too. What instrument do you play?
I play trumpet.
Yeah. How long have you been doing that?
For 7 years, so beginning of middle school.
Wow, I played trumpet in middle school too, but then I decided to join theater, and so but that's really cool, because you also have that passion for music as well. I remember talking to you and having really, really talking about how great music is.
Yes. And in all of my experience with music, I've played at various venues, I should say. The jazz band, we've done tours at like retirement homes for people who generally couldn't go out and listen to live music the way they want to. Right. So we've been able to I know personally move people there. We've moved people with marching band shows. So just like I've seen firsthand the power to shape people's lives and move people with music that I've played. And I've been moved by other people's music. So.
Exactly. And you can move a lot of people about that. So that's awesome. Yeah. So we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back and move you some more with the music. Yep. Welcome back, everyone. I am here with Eric Mathieson. So we were just talking about music and the great passion that comes from being in the band and playing music. What's your favorite style of music, by the way?
I'm big into jazz or anything that's really popular, just playing what gets people moving, what gets people excited, and I think jazz is very, very good for doing that.
Right, exactly. So another thing that I found really, really intriguing was your ability to combine both the passion that you have in music and also your academics and your schoolwork and being able to combine the things that are important and the things that you love. Yeah. That's something that's really cool. So why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so probably the best example of me doing that academically and music, putting them together, is the computer science principles. The AP computer science principle has a program segment where you have to actually make something that's a functioning program application. And so I decided I wanted to make a keyboard that would be mapped to the computer keyboard so people could play on a pretty simple keyboard. But the whole intent there was just to get people involved in music, and for somebody who may not have had a very inclusive or thorough music education, there's just that kind of simple introduction that could be in even a simple phone app or something.
Right. And that's awesome because you, like, the AP Comp Sci, course only requires a very, very little amount into that actual project. And so I remember you were saying that you could possibly over the summer and in continuing years build on that program some more.
Absolutely. And that's something that I'm very interested in doing because I do think music education is important, whether you're planning on doing 7 or more years or just like something simple like 15 minutes a day just looking at music. So I think definitely developing that more would be something worth my while.
Well, that's great. Well, best of luck to you in the future.
Thank you.
It was great having you on the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you very much. Thank you for tuning into Youth Spotlight. We'll catch you later.
It's lilac season in the inland Northwest, but it's also fire season. Stay with us to see how you can protect your home and yard this summer.
And welcome again to House to Home. I'm Clyde Hawsey, your host, and today I have a special guest, Guy Gifford with the Department of Natural Resources. Welcome aboard, Guy.
Thanks, Clyde.
You know, folks, every home in the outlying areas of Spokane and even inside the city limits has one thing. We usually have, a lot of us have a few pine trees around us. And the selection of plant material around our home is so important. And Guy, we've been talking about how to sustain a safe presence of for fire protection around our home. Choices of right plant material, and give us a few examples of what you would be thinking of as a person who has to go out and fight these fires.
We want a plant that won't readily burn. So we don't want one that has a lot of dead material underneath, that has a fairly open branching pattern and not a lot of vegetation to burn. Or it's very moist. Your rhododendrons would be a good choice. A lot of your flowering plants are good choices. An example of a bad one would be anything in the juniper family.
he beat around the bush, and he just didn't say a juniper is a bad plant, okay? We don't need that at the foundation of our home, right?
That has all the bad qualities. It burns easily, a lot of dead material, and
Right.
it's very volatile when it does burn.
And the other thing is don't plant anything underneath the overhang that comes out of the home. And under your deck, we need to use gravel. We don't use, I get a kick out of this. And beauty bark is it's a beautiful name. It's a terrible product for fire, right?
It's terrible fire. It does burn. I've seen homes started on fire from beauty bark.
Because the ashes, and you've shared this with me, the ashes come blowing in, it lands on it, and how can you stop it? You don't even know it. Right?
Yeah, and it's what we call burning embers. They're like little matches, and you can travel over a mile, and you get thousands and thousands of them hitting your house, hitting your beauty bark, all potentially starting little fires.
Well, what he's telling you that choices have to be made any day that you go out and buy a plant. And then where are you going to put it? You know, I've seen so much of this up next to the foundation of the home. Again, insects get underneath it, and then you turn around and you find that you have created a real fire hazard. So any other quick tips that you have that you want to pass on very quickly?
The key thing, getting the right plant in the right place and keep it in the right condition during fire season, the key to success.
Okay, with those words in mind, folks, our projects never do end on House to Home. And Guy Gifford, I want to say thank you for the Department of Natural Resources. Come back and join us next time as we protect your home.
Here at River Ridge Hardware Garden Center, where we have all the plants and flowers that will spruce up your yard, from the lilacs for Spokane's Lilac City to awesome hanging baskets and pots that you can actually put the hanging baskets in. Here at River Ridge Hardware, we want to help you set up your landscape needs. Neighbors helping neighbors at River Ridge Hardware.
Welcome back. I'm Clyde Hawsey with Guy Gifford from Department of Natural Resources. We've talked about plants around your home. Now let's talk about the outlying forest around your lot, shall we say. What are some of the things that need to be done?
One thing when you're in a forest environment is getting some space between the trees. We don't like seeing tree branches touching. Then we can easily get what we call crown-to-crown ignition, or fire from tree to tree. So spacing the trees out, and also we call limbing the trees or pruning the trees, because we don't want what we call ladder fuels. That's when fire starts and the grasses climb the branches and starts the trees on fire. So basically we want to create some space, some visibility between underneath the trees as well as between the trees.
Can we say 10 feet?
10 feet pruning? Yes, that's ideal.
Okay, and then the other thing is that I've said about is that when you always have a clear fighting chance with the fire is at least 30 to 60 to 80 to 100 feet out from it, right?
From around your structure, yes.
Yes.
Having what we call defendable space around your structure is key to helping protect your home from wildfire.
And you can even accomplish that even by keeping the grasses low, right?
Yes, keeping the grasses low.
You've said, if you mow it once, and I said, don't do that more than once, but keep it short. But after July, they'll pretty well stop growing.
Yeah, the nice thing about native grass is after July, they go into dormancy. They don't grow again unless there's rain. And so usually if you get it done by the 4th of July, you're usually good for fire season.
You know what? This guy is the expert. Guy, I want to tell you, thank you again for all your services and all your firefighters. And whenever we need help, we just call you. And again, I appreciate you coming in today, sharing with us. Guy Gifford with Department of Natural Resources. He's got great ideas. If you have any given questions, give him a call. He'll even return your phone call, too, at times. So thank you again. Again, plan ahead. Get with the projects. Let's go do it. See you next time on House to Home.
Cindy Hval is a freelance columnist and correspondent for the Spokesman Review and author of War Bonds, Love Stories from the Greatest Generation. The view from her porch is usually sunny.
After 33 years of marriage, you'd think I'd know my husband quite well, but he can still surprise me, like the announcement he made at the dinner table that shook me. Our son mentioned our neighbors across the street had got some chickens, several chickens. Derek said, "Really? I'd like to get some chickens, at least 4. I almost choked on my mashed potatoes. You want to get what? Chickens, he said. Fresh eggs taste so much better than eggs you buy at the grocery store. If you think I want to get a rooster wake-up call at the crack of dawn, you need to consider how I respond to my alarm clock, I warned. This comment prompted a flurry of smartphone Googling, an activity usually prohibited at the dinner table. The results of those fast-fingered queries? Apparently, roosters aren't needed for hens to lay eggs. Roosters are only necessary for more chicks. The reproductive habits of poultry is not my idea of appropriate dinner conversation. However, having won the rooster battle, Derek forged onward. Evidently, he's been dreaming about other chicks for quite a while because he grabbed his Kindle and showed me a chicken coop condo that you can buy at Costco. I shook my head. That's not big enough. He grinned. You mean you want more than 4 chickens? No, I said. I just mean if you bring home any hens, you'd better make sure you have room to sleep with them. Don't get me wrong. I'm no hen hater. I love chicken, baked, broiled, or barbecued, but I have no desire to see my dinner in its natural, unfrozen state. Derek can be very persuasive. But if a chicken condo suddenly appears in our backyard, this chick is flying the coop. And that's the view from my front porch.
Spokane Talks is about you. Give us your feedback and comments at info@SpokaneTalksMedia.com. Spokane Talks is everywhere you are. Find us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and SpokaneTalksMedia.com. Spokane Talks is brought to you in part by Rada Paint and River Ridge Hardware. We'll be back next week with the latest news, views, and conversation. Please join us.